I was a night guard at an abandoned mall. The rules they gave me weren't a joke. I should have known something was wrong when they offered me $35 an hour to guard an empty building. No college student gets paid that much to sit around and do nothing. But I was desperate. My rent was 3 weeks overdue, and the manager who hired me had this look in his eyes, like he was apologizing for something he hadn't told me yet. My name is Marcus. I'm 22, and what I'm about to tell you happened over the course of 5 nights last month at Westfield Shopping Center, a mall that's been officially closed for renovations for the past 3 years. They gave me a list of rules on my first night. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. The interview 3 days before. The whole thing started when I saw a job posting on Craigslist. Night security guard needed. $35/hour. No experience necessary. Must be punctual and able to follow instructions. I called immediately and got scheduled for an interview the next day. When I asked why they were meeting at a closed location, the secretary just said, "Mr. Castellano prefers to conduct interviews on site." I showed up at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. The parking lot was empty except for one black sedan. The mall looked sad in daylight, faded banners, weeds growing through cracks in the pavement. Mr. Castellano met me at the entrance. He was a short, nervous man in his 50s who kept wiping sweat from his forehead even though it wasn't particularly warm. "Marcus," he extended a clammy hand. "Thanks for coming." We stepped inside. Even in daylight, with sun streaming through skylights, the mall felt wrong. Our footsteps echoed too loudly. The air smelled stale, like a museum that hadn't opened in years. "The position is straightforward," he said as we walked. "Midnight to 6 a.m., 6 nights a week. You'll patrol every hour, check doors, report unusual activity." "What kind of unusual activity?" He didn't answer right away. We passed a closed jewelry store, and I could see our reflections in the darkened windows, distorted, stretched out, wrong somehow. "Sometimes we get trespassers," he finally said. "Kids, urban explorers. Your job is to discourage that. $35 an hour seems like a lot for just walking around." He stopped and turned to face me. "The pay is high because the work is demanding, psychologically. You'll be alone for 6 hours in a large, empty building. Some people find that unsettling. I'm fine with being alone. We'll see. When can you start?" "Tonight, if you need me." He looked relieved. "Perfect. Come back at 11:45 p.m. As we walked back, I noticed one store had its security gate partially open. A place called Reflections that sold mirrors. "That store's gate is open," I pointed out. Mr. Castellano's face went pale. He grabbed my arm. "Don't go near that store, ever. That's not part of your patrol route. Stay away from Reflections. That's not a suggestion, that's a requirement." I should have walked away right then, but I needed the money. Night 1, the rules. Mr. Castellano met me in the parking lot at 11:45 p.m. The mall looked different at night, not just dark, but actively hostile. He handed me a flashlight, keys, and a laminated card. "Your shift is midnight to 6 a.m. Follow these rules exactly as written. No exceptions." The card was titled Night Guard Protocols with 12 rules in bold red letters. Rule 1, begin your patrol at exactly midnight. Not 12:01, not 11:59, midnight. Rule 2, always carry your flashlight. If it flickers 3 times in a row, leave the area immediately. Rule 3, the mall directory screen will sometimes turn on by itself. Do not look at what it displays. Rule 4, if you see a woman in a red dress on the 2nd floor, do not make eye contact. Walk past her calmly and continue your patrol. Rule 5, the food court is off limits between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. No exceptions. Rule 6, if you hear children laughing, it's coming from the toy store. Do not investigate. The store has been empty for 3 years. Rule 7, sometimes the escalators will start moving. This is normal. What's not normal is if they're moving in the wrong direction. If this happens, use the stairs. Rule 8, there is no third-floor bathroom. If you see signs directing you to one, ignore them. Rule 9, the West Wing is closed for structural repairs. After 3 a.m., you may hear construction sounds from that direction. You will not investigate these sounds. Rule 10, if you encounter another security guard, verify their name badge. Your badge says MARCUS night shift. If theirs says anything else, especially night shift MARCUS, do not speak to them and report to the security office immediately. Rule 11, the security cameras will sometimes show things that aren't there. Trust what you see with your own eyes, not what's on the monitors. Rule 12, your shift ends at 6 a.m. If you hear the mall announcement system saying, "The mall is now closed," ignore it. The mall is always closed. The announcement should never play. "Is this some kind of joke?" I asked. Mr. Castellano's face was dead serious. "I've been managing this property for 15 years, Marcus. We've had 23 night guards. Only 7 finished their first week. The ones who followed the rules survived. The ones who didn't. What happened to them? Some quit. Wouldn't talk about what they saw. Others..." He pulled out a cigarette. 3 guards disappeared completely. Security footage showed them entering but never leaving. Police searched the entire building. Nothing, and you're still operating. We have a contract. Someone needs to maintain a presence here. Someone needs to bear witness, to acknowledge what's here. What is here? Something old, something angry. Just follow the rules, Marcus. Follow them exactly, and you'll be fine. He handed me his card. "If anything happens, call me immediately. I live 10 minutes away." Then he left me alone in that massive, dark parking lot. At 11:59 p.m., I unlocked the entrance and stepped inside. The first patrol, 12 a.m. Inside, emergency lights cast everything in a sickly green glow. The mall was huge. 3 floors, hundreds of stores with metal security gates pulled down. Mannequins stood frozen in windows, seeming to watch me pass. I checked my watch, 12 m exactly. Rule 1, begin patrol. The first hour was relatively uneventful, which somehow made it worse. Every sound I made echoed back slightly wrong, delayed by a fraction of a second. The place smelled like dust and something else, something sweet and rotten. I passed the mall directory, a large dark screen near the center court. Rule 3, don't look if it turns on. I made a mental note and kept walking, but I could feel it behind me. Watching. The toy store was on the 2nd floor. Wizard's Toy Kingdom with a faded wizard sign that looked sinister in the emergency lighting. The gate was down, but I could see inside, empty shelves and in the back a carousel. An old merry-go-round with painted horses, all covered in dust. I stood there for a minute listening. Nothing, just silence, just my breathing. I completed the patrol and returned to the security office, a small room with a desk and monitors showing different mall areas. Most screens showed static, but about a dozen worked. I sat down. 12:47 a.m., 13 minutes until my second patrol. On monitor 7 showing the food court, for just a second I thought I saw someone standing at one of the tables. I blinked. Nothing there. Rule 11, trust your own eyes, not the monitors. I made a note in the logbook. 12:47 a.m., all clear. 12 previous entries filled the page above mine, all saying the same thing, all clear. Except the last one, dated 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. Something is wrong with the West Wing. No signature. 1 a.m., something's wrong. My second patrol started normal enough, but something felt different. The air was colder. My breath fogged in front of my face. And there were sounds, a creak from above, distant music, water dripping. I was near the food court when my flashlight flickered. Once. I stopped, hand tightening on the flashlight. Twice. Please no, 3 times, rule 2, leave immediately. I turned and started walking back. Not running. Something told me running would be worse. Behind me I heard footsteps. Not mine, heavier. Slower, deliberately paced, matching my rhythm but staying just far enough behind. My heart hammered. Walk, don't run, just walk. The footsteps continued, getting closer. I could hear shoes squeaking on tile, a slight drag to the left foot. I reached the main corridor and the footsteps stopped, just like that. Silence. I stood there for 5 minutes, listening. Nothing. Back in the security office, I checked the monitors. Camera 4 showed nothing unusual, just empty corridor. But in the corner of the screen was a shadow, human-shaped, standing perfectly still. I switched cameras. When I switched back, the shadow was gone. 2 a.m., the woman in red, 3rd patrol. I took the east stairs to the 2nd floor, being more careful now. That's when I saw her, near the frozen escalator. A woman in a bright red dress standing perfectly still, facing a closed Hallmark store. Rule 4, do not make eye contact. Walk past her calmly. My hands shook. She was 30 feet away. I could see her long dark hair, the way her dress seemed to glow in the dim lighting. I kept my eyes forward, but every instinct wanted me to look at her face. Don't look. Don't look. 20 feet. 15. She was completely motionless. Not even breathing. But she radiated cold. The temperature dropped 10 degrees as I got closer. 10 feet. I could hear something now. A wet, rattling sound like lungs filled with fluid trying to draw air. 5 feet. Her dress wasn't just red. It was wet, dripping, dark patches spreading across the fabric. 3 feet. I was directly beside her. The cold was painful. She whispered, voice layered like multiple people speaking at once. You're not supposed to be here. I kept walking. 5 more steps. 10. 20. I risked a glance back. She had turned around. She was facing me now. I couldn't see her face clearly. It was blurred somehow, but I could see her eyes. Completely black. Not just the pupils, but the entire eye. And she was smiling. I made it to the stairs and went down as fast as I could. When I looked back up through the railing, she was standing at the top of the escalator, looking down at me. Still smiling. 2:30 a.m., the logbook. In the security office, I tried to calm down. I opened the logbook, flipping through previous entries. Most were brief. All clear. No incidents. But some were different. 2 months ago. Saw the woman in red again. 3rd time this week. She's getting closer to the security office. 3 weeks later, same handwriting. She spoke to me tonight, said my name. How does she know my name? 6 months ago, different handwriting. I don't care what they're paying. I quit. There's something in the West Wing. A year ago, the children's laughter from the toy store is getting louder. Last night, I could hear them singing. And 2 years ago, my name is David Chen. I'm a night guard here. If you're reading this, something has happened to me. The mall is not what it seems. The West Wing fire in 2008 didn't just kill people. It trapped them. They're still here, all 23 of them. And they want out. Whatever you do, the entry ended mid-sentence. The rest of the page was torn out. I checked the monitors. Everything looked normal, except monitor 9 showing the toy store. The carousel in the back was spinning. Slowly, silently. The painted horses rising and falling. There was no power to that carousel. The store had been closed for 3 years. When the camera cycled back 30 seconds later, the carousel was still. Motionless. Rule 11, trust your own eyes. 3 a.m., the West Wing, 4th Patrol. The mall felt completely different after 3 a.m. The air was colder. The lights seemed dimmer. And from the distance, I heard construction sounds. Drilling, hammering, power tools, voices shouting instructions. The West Wing. I stood at the intersection where a chain barrier blocked the entrance. Signs read, Structural REPAIRS authorized personnel only. Beyond the barrier, the West Wing stretched into darkness. Water stains on the ceiling, cracked tiles. Some emergency lights were out, creating pools of absolute darkness. The construction sounds continued. Someone laughed, a normal human laugh that sounded wrong here. Rule 9, do not investigate. Part of me wanted to look. Just peek around the corner. But I remembered. The ones who followed the rules survived. I turned and continued my patrol in the opposite direction. Behind me, the sounds continued for 10 more minutes, then stopped abruptly. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. When I passed Reflections, the mirror store, I noticed the security gate was open wider than before, maybe 6 inches instead of a foot, and inside, in the darkness, something moved. I kept walking, but I felt it watching me. 3:30 a.m., the directory. I was checking monitors when I heard a cheerful electronic chime. I walked out to the central court. My stomach dropped. The mall directory screen was on. The massive display glowed impossibly bright. Text scrolled across. Welcome to Westfield Shopping Center, Rule 3. Do not look at what it displays. But I'd already seen the welcome message. I started to turn away when the text changed. MARCUS, my name, in 3-foot letters. Turn around, every muscle locked. Do not look. Turn around, MARCUS. SHE's behind you. Turn around, the text repeated faster, scrolling so quickly I could barely read it. Images appeared. Security footage. Me walking through the mall. Me in the security office. Me at home, sleeping. How did they have footage of my apartment? Turn around, MARCUS. She wants to meet you. I squeezed my eyes shut and walked backward, counting steps. 1, 2, 3. Behind me, I heard breathing. Close, 4, 5, 6. The breathing got louder. I smelled perfume, old and cloying, mixed with something rotten. 7, 8, 9, 10. I opened my eyes. The screen was off, completely dark. I turned around slowly. Nothing was behind me, but on the floor, right where I'd been standing, were wet footprints. Small footprints like a child's leading toward the escalator, toward the toy store. The footprints were red. 4 a.m., Rule 12. Back in the security office, heart pounding, I tried to think clearly. That's when the speakers crackled to life. A woman's voice, pleasant and automated, echoed through the mall. Attention shoppers. Westfield Shopping Center is now closed. Please make your way to the nearest exit. Thank you for shopping with us. Rule 12. The announcement should never play. It repeated, then again, then a 4th time. On the 5th repetition, the voice changed. Attention, Marcus. The mall requires your presence in the food court. Please proceed immediately. This is not a request. The food court. Rule 5. Off limits between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. I looked at my watch, 4 a.m. exactly. The 2-hour window had just ended. Marcus, we are waiting. Come to the food court. Everyone is waiting for you. Everyone? Marcus, last warning. Come to the food court or we will come to you. My phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Castellano. Do not go to the food court. Stay in the security office. Lock the door. I'm on my way. I locked the door and turned off the lights. On camera 7, showing the food court, there were people. Dozens of them. Standing in a semicircle, all facing the camera. Facing me. The woman in the red dress. A man in a security uniform, badge reading night shift MARCUS. Children in old-fashioned clothes. An elderly couple. A teenage girl in a Westfield uniform. And others. So many others. Their faces too pale, too still. As I watched, they all started moving at once, walking in perfect synchronization toward the camera, toward the security office, toward me. 4:30 a.m. they're coming. I could hear them now. Footsteps. Dozens of footsteps moving in unison like distant thunder. My phone rang. Mr. Castellano. Marcus, listen carefully, he said, voice shaking. They're going to try to get you to open the door. They'll sound like people you know, your mother, your friends, me. Do not open that door until I get there. Understand? What the hell is this place? The mall was built in 1989 on top of an old asylum that burned down in 1952. 43 people died in that fire. The developers didn't care. They built anyway. For years, everything was fine. But in 2008, there was a fire in the West Wing. 23 people died. After that, the place changed. The dead didn't leave. The 23 from 2008 joined the 43 from 1952. They're trapped here, caught between worlds, and they're angry. They want to be acknowledged. That's why we need a night guard. Someone has to witness. Someone has to know they're here. On the monitors, the group reached the corridor outside. They stood there, dozens of pale faces staring at the camera. Then someone knocked on the door. "Marcus," my mother's voice. "Marcus, honey, are you in there? I'm so worried. Please open the door." "That's not my mother," I whispered. "She's in Chicago." "I know, don't respond. I'm 5 minutes away." "Marcus," Jake's voice. "Dude, Mr. Castellano sent me. We need to leave now." Then Mr. Castellano's voice from outside. "Marcus, it's me. I'm here. Open the door." I looked at my phone. The real Mr. Castellano was still on the line. I could hear his car engine. "3 minutes away," he said. "Don't open that door." The voices outside talked over each other. My mother, Jake, Mr. Castellano, my dead grandfather, people I knew, people I'd forgotten. Then children started singing a nursery rhyme I didn't recognize. Then they all started screaming my name, screaming for me to open the door, screaming that they would get in eventually, that I should just make it easier on myself. The door handle started to turn. I backed into the corner as far from the door as possible. The handle turned slowly, methodically. It was locked. I'd checked twice, but the handle kept turning. 5 a.m. sunrise protocol. The screaming stopped as suddenly as it started. I opened my eyes. 5 a.m. exactly. Mr. Castellano was still on the line. "Marcus, are you okay?" "I think so." "1 more hour. They can't force their way in, they can only trick you. 1 more hour and it's over." The last hour was the longest of my life. I watched the monitors. The people outside were gone. The mall looked empty, except monitor 12 showing the West Wing. The West Wing wasn't under construction. It was burned, completely destroyed. Charred walls, collapsed ceiling, everything black and ruined. And standing in the destruction was a figure, too tall to be human. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. It was looking directly at the camera, at me. At 5:59 a.m., Mr. Castellano knocked. "Marcus, it's me. Check the parking lot camera." I checked camera 1. His car was there. He was outside the door. I unlocked it. He looked like he'd aged 10 years. "Come on. Your shift is over." We walked out together as the sun rose. The morning light made everything look normal, just an old closed mall. "What happened here?" I asked. Mr. Castellano lit a cigarette with shaking hands. 15 years ago, there was a fire in the West Wing. 23 people died. Employees, shoppers, children at the daycare. The place changed after that. The dead didn't leave. They're trapped here and they're angry. Why do you need a night guard? The deal. Someone has to acknowledge them. Someone has to witness. If we don't provide that, they find their own way out. 2 years ago, a guard quit after 1 night. Within a week, 3 people in the neighborhood died in their sleep. No explanation. After we hired a new guard, it stopped. He handed me an envelope. "First week's pay plus a bonus." I looked at the money, then at the mall. "I'm not coming back." "I know, most don't after the first night." I quit that night. Sent a text to Mr. Castellano that I wouldn't return. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that mall, about the woman in red, about the thing in the West Wing, about all those people trapped between life and death. And I wonder, who's working the night shift now? That was 3 weeks ago. Last night, I got a call from an unknown number. When I answered, all I heard was, "Attention shoppers, Westfield Shopping Center is now closed." Then a whisper, "We're still waiting, Marcus. The West Wing remembers you." Would you have followed the rules, or would you have investigated? Let me know in the comments. And if you see a job listing for a night guard at an abandoned building, maybe skip that one.